My name is Emily. I'm 34 years old, and until that weekend, I'd been living with my boyfriend Ryan Cole for 3 years. 5 years total, if we're counting honestly. We met through work. Nothing dramatic. No sparks flying across the room. Just two people who found comfort in each other's presence and decided to build something steady. The kind of relationship that doesn't post much on social media because it feels private. Safe. Ours. The apartment was in both our names. I paid about 70% of everything. Rent, utilities, groceries, because Ryan was still paying off student loans. I never kept score. Love isn't a ledger. At least it wasn't to me. I believed you support the person you're building a life with. The weekend that broke us started on a Friday morning. Ryan had been off for weeks. Late nights. Phone always face down. Answers to simple questions stretched thin and vague, like he was reading from a script he didn't want to memorize. I noticed I just didn't push. People need space. I believe that too. That morning, I was in the kitchen making coffee when he walked out of the bedroom with an overnight bag slung over his shoulder. Going somewhere? I asked casually, stirring sugar into my mug. Weekend trip, he said. Staying at Lena's place. Lena, his ex-girlfriend. They'd dated years ago. Swore they were just friends now. I'd accepted that, because trust is supposed to be the foundation, not the reward. Oh, I said, you didn't mention it. I'm mentioning it now. His tone was sharp, defensive, too sharp for such a small question. I nodded. Okay, have fun. Want me to water the plants? They'll survive. He didn't kiss me goodbye. I stood there with 2 mugs of coffee, one of them useless. Friday passed quietly. Saturday morning, I texted him. Hope you're having a good time. The fern is mad you left. No response. Saturday evening, I called. Straight to voicemail. By Sunday morning, the unease had settled deep in my chest. Not panic, something colder. He finally called back that afternoon. What? He asked. Why are you blowing up my phone? I texted once and called twice, I said, in 2 days. I'm allowed to have time without checking in every 5 minutes, Emily. I'm not asking for that. I was just worried. That's the problem, he snapped. You're always worried. It's suffocating. I felt something shift then, a hairline crack spreading silently. Disappearing for days without a message isn't normal for us, I said. Normal for us or normal for what you expect? I took a breath. Ryan, what's going on? Nothing. I just don't want to report my movements like you're my parent. That's when he said it. Stop acting like my father. I can do whatever I want. I went very still. Sunday night, he didn't come home. Monday morning, he still wasn't there. I texted once. Are you coming back today? 3 hours later, probably tonight. That was when I started packing. Not angrily, not dramatically. Methodically. Room by room, item by item. Only what was mine, but all of it. And as I packed, something inside me finally went quiet. Because this wasn't about a weekend. This was about someone already halfway gone, daring me to notice. I didn't cry while I packed. That surprised me. I thought there would be shaking hands, impulsive decisions, maybe something reckless, throwing his things into boxes, slamming drawers shut. But none of that happened. I folded my clothes carefully, wrapped my mugs in dish towels, unplugged the laptop I'd bought before we ever shared a password. I wasn't trying to punish him. I was trying to listen to the part of myself I'd been muting for weeks. By the time I finished, the apartment felt hollow, not empty, exposed. Like a stage after the actors leave, props missing, lights still on. I left his things untouched. His clothes still hung in the closet. His shoes were still lined up by the door. The couch we'd bought together stayed because fighting over furniture felt like clinging to a corpse. But I took the coffee maker, the television, the bookshelf I'd assembled myself on a rainy Sunday 3 years ago. I took what was mine, and what had quietly become invisible to him. On the kitchen counter, I left a note. You're right. You can do whatever you want. So can I. Then I drove to my friend Maya's place, my car packed tight, my chest somehow light and heavy at the same time. Maya didn't ask questions. She just opened the door, took one look at my face, and said, "Guest room's ready." That night, I slept without dreaming. Tuesday morning, my phone exploded. Missed call, another, and another. By noon, Ryan had called 10 times. I texted once during my lunch break. I'm at work. What's going on? His reply came instantly. Where is all your stuff? I stared at the screen longer than necessary. I took it. You took everything? I took my things. What the hell, Emily? Why would you do this? Because you disappeared for 3 days. Because you made me feel crazy for caring. Because something in me finally believed what I'd been sensing. But I typed only one thing. You said you wanted freedom. I'm giving you that. His next message came seconds later. This is insane. You moved out because I wanted space for one weekend? I didn't respond. That evening, when I returned to Maya's place, she knocked softly on the guest room door. He's here, she said, outside. I felt the familiar pull, habit, loyalty, 5 years of muscle memory telling me to smooth things over. I ignored it. Ryan stood on the sidewalk, arms crossed, jaw tight. When he saw me, his expression cracked, anger tangled with something close to fear. We need to talk, he said. You can't just leave. We have a lease, a life. I'll keep paying my half until it's sorted, I said calmly. That's not the point. You don't just walk away. Adults don't disappear without a word and then accuse their partner of being controlling for noticing, I replied. I told you where I was. And then you vanished. He shook his head, exasperated. I was venting. I needed space. Lena and I were having deep conversations about life. I didn't want to be glued to my phone. For 3 days? Yes, is that such a crime? No, I said softly, but punishing me for being worried is. He hesitated, just a fraction of a second. I saw it. Where exactly were you? I asked. At Lena's. What's her address? Why does that matter? Because if you were there, you wouldn't need to think about it. Silence. Something hardened in my chest. Call her, I said. Put her on speaker. Ryan pulled out his phone, stared at it, slipped it back into his pocket. I don't have to prove anything to you. No, I agreed, and I don't have to stay. I turned toward the house. Emily, he called, voice breaking. Please. I didn't look back. That night I blocked his number, but the truth was already unblocked in my mind. Silence isn't absence. Silence is a choice. Blocking Ryan didn't bring the peace I expected. It brought clarity, the kind that stings at first, like stepping into cold air after holding your breath too long. Everything felt sharper, louder. Even the quiet moments at Maya's place carried weight, as if my mind was finally catching up to what my heart had known for a while. Wednesday morning, he found a way through. A call from an unknown number. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answered. Emily, he said quickly, like if he spoke fast enough I wouldn't hang up. It's me. Please don't block this number too. I'm listening, I said, nothing more. I panicked, he continued. Okay. I came home and the apartment looked wrong. Like a stranger had robbed me. I didn't know what to do. I closed my eyes. That's what it feels like, I said, when someone removes themselves without warning. That's not fair, he snapped. You left. I stopped pretending, I corrected. There was a pause, then softer. Can we meet? Talk like adults? Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop near the apartment. Neutral territory. No shared walls. No memories pressed into the corners. Ryan looked tired, unshaven, his confidence frayed at the edges. You really took the TV, he said weakly, attempting a smile. I bought it, I replied, before you. He sighed. This is about more than stuff. It always is. He leaned forward. I didn't cheat. I studied his face, the way his eyes darted when he said it. I didn't accuse you of cheating, I said. I accused you of disappearing and punishing me for caring. Lena can confirm I was there, he insisted. She'll tell you. Then why didn't she? That landed. She doesn't want to be dragged into this, he said quickly. She already is, I replied. You put her there. He rubbed his temples. I just needed space, Emily. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I know, I said. And that was the most painful part. I stood to leave. Wait, he said, panic creeping in. What about the lease? The plants? The life we were building? I looked at him then. Really looked. You stopped building weeks ago, I said. I just stopped holding the scaffolding. That night, Maya handed me a glass of wine and raised an eyebrow. You okay? I'm done, I said. Those are different things. Thursday passed quietly. Friday morning, my phone rang again. This time it was Lena's number. I answered. Hi, Emily, she said cautiously. Ryan's here. He asked me to call you. Put him on speaker, I said. There was shuffling. Then Ryan's voice. See, I told you. I ignored him. Lena, I said. Was Ryan's phone working this weekend? Silence. I don't want to be in the middle, she said finally. You already are, I replied gently. So please, was his phone working? More silence. Then, I'm handing the phone back to Ryan. That was all I needed. You satisfied now? He asked sharply. I'm done, I said. You're paranoid. You always overthink things. I smiled sadly. No, I said. I finally stopped underthinking myself. He hung up. Saturday, he showed up at Maya's porch. Again. This time, he didn't look angry. He looked desperate. We need to talk about the apartment, he said, and the lease. Talk to my lawyer, I replied, handing him a card I'd picked up that morning. His eyes widened. You hired a lawyer? Yes. You're really ending 5 years over this? No, I said calmly. I'm ending 5 years of being made to feel wrong for wanting honesty. He swallowed hard. Then, finally, the truth slipped. I wasn't at Lena's the whole time, he said. I waited. I went to a concert Saturday night, he continued, with a woman from work, just as friends. I nodded slowly. And that's why you disappeared, I said. Because friends don't require lies. It wasn't lying, he insisted. I just didn't tell you. That's the definition, I said quietly. He looked at me like he'd lost something he didn't realize was fragile. I didn't think you'd leave, he said. I didn't think you'd make me feel optional, I replied. He left without another word. And something in me finally settled. Because when everything that's yours is gone, what's left is the truth. 6 weeks passed. Not dramatically, quietly. Life didn't collapse. It reorganized itself around the absence of someone who had already been halfway gone. I moved into a small studio across town, sunlight in the mornings, no shared closets, no silent expectations hanging in the air. The lease buyout was handled through lawyers, efficient, cold, exactly what emotions are supposed to become once they've overstayed their welcome. Ryan didn't try again. That surprised me. But Maya told me later he'd been asking about me through mutual friends, whether I was doing okay, whether I seemed angry. I wasn't. That was the strangest part. Anger requires energy. I'd spent mine already, worrying, explaining, shrinking myself to avoid being labeled too much. One Thursday evening, my phone buzzed with a notification from an unfamiliar number. It's Ryan, I just want to talk. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. Say what you need to say. There was a pause, then, I'm seeing her. I exhaled slowly. The woman from work? Yes. No apology, no explanation. Just confirmation. How long? I asked. About 2 months, he replied. The math landed with brutal precision. So before the weekend. Another pause. Yes. I typed nothing. Because there was nothing left to ask. He sent one last message. I never meant to hurt you. I almost laughed. Instead, I typed, you just didn't mind if you did. He didn't reply. A few days later, my brother asked if I regretted leaving so abruptly. Shouldn't you have tried harder? He said gently. Relationships aren't perfect. I looked at him and smiled. I tried, I said. I just stopped trying alone. That night, I thought about the apartment. How easy it was to divide everything once I stopped pretending it was all shared. I took my clothes, my furniture, my independence, and my self-respect. Ryan texted me once more, from yet another new number I hadn't blocked yet. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. I didn't respond. But if I had, I would have said this. You're right. I can do whatever I want. And what I want is a life where love isn't confused with control, honesty isn't treated like a burden, and silence isn't used as a weapon. Leaving the apartment was easy. Leaving the illusion took longer. But in the end, the division was clear. I walked away with everything that mattered.